Okay. All right, folks. You know what this means? It means it's time for the Wednesday show, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to go. I'm ready to dig into this and see just what we can uncover here in the paranormal portals. There's more than one. But just like there's more than one host tonight, I am joined, of course, by my good friend and co-host, the Big Toe himself, Mr. Don Longbeard. How you doing, huh?
Apparently not good.
Quit busting my chops.
Quit busting my chops.
You're not good.
I can't seem for some reason to get into my YouTube.
Your YouTubes?
My YouTube. So I got to figure this out.
Different browser, or did you update your browser?
No, I got a new phone, and I think that screwed everything up.
That could be. Same number though, right?
Yeah, it's the same number. Yeah, it's just a new phone.
Well, there you go. That's how Don's doing, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, here we go.
Yep, just threw him a curveball there, but he'll be along with us shortly.
Shortly, yeah, kind of like my big toe.
That's got to be like the size of a grapefruit by now, doesn't it?
The stupid thing just hurts.
You beat the hell out of that big toe. I'm gonna maybe buy you slippers with like a bumper rail around them. You know?
I have Bigfoot slippers.
That's true. You should wear them.
Probably work. Yeah.
Yeah, that would absorb a lot of punishment. I think
They would. Yeah. So does my toe.
Yeah, but not without the price, of course. So everybody, it's Wednesday, and we all know what day that is.
Hump day.
Hump day. And we're going to bring you 2 fun-filled hours of the Paranormal Portal because, by God,
you deserve it.
You deserve every minute of it, and probably a lot more, but
yes,
we're just going to give you 2 hours of it. So.
Whether you deserve it or not.
Yep. Thank you, John, for remembering. I gave you the applause on the way in. I if you guys were wondering, why is that clapping going on? Well, it's because we're celebrating those that remember. And by remember, I mean becoming or renewing the membership to our channel.
Yay!
Yay! So thank you, John, for that, and we appreciate it. Jesse Garcia. How you doing, Jesse? Good to see you. That's a new name to me, right? Isn't it?
I don't know. I can't see him yet.
Oh, okay. But I mean, is the name Jesse Garcia? That sounds brand new.
That sounds new.
Hey,
how you doing?
David Barnes. Good to see you, brother. That's David's a hell of a musician. Actually, David, I just found an old CD of some song ideas I recorded, and I was gonna burn them to an MP3 and send them your way to see what you think.
Don't you rip them to an MP3?
Rip them, sure. Yeah, you burn to a CD, you rip to MP3. Yeah, sorry. I forget all the vernacular.
It's because we don't do it anymore.
I know, everything's
That's so 90s.
I know. I'm dating myself, but I found a CD. That's like really weird. Isn't it weird though when people talk about things that were just normal, like cassette tapes, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm kind of dating myself now." But
funny you mention that, because you know what I found in the floorboard of my car just as I was getting ready to come over here?
A cassette?
A mixtape I did of Metallica singles.
Oh, nice.
All Metallica singles. And I was like,
I'm sorry, I got to cut off Don's mic before he gets an MCA strike. Of course, they were all properly licensed and purchased, right, Don? Yeah, I mean, back in the day, God, I had.
That's how I found out about that music, was through the tape trade.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
that's how I found out about that. Beastie Boys. Some guy on the buses, or some guy on the school bus, he's like, "Hey, man, you got to listen to this." Swear to God.
Yeah.
It was like he was doing drugs. He was like selling me drugs. He said, "You got to listen to this." I'm like, okay. And then they became one of my most favorite bands in the world. I have almost everything they've ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. So that's how the tape trade.
It was like it was all bootlegs and.
Exactly. I had a Judas Priest cassette in my back pocket one time, and I went to sit down because it was high school, and I was sitting on the banister, the handrail. Cracked it right now. Son of a gun.
That's something even a pencil can't fix, Don.
Yeah, well, I fixed it.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah, I still have it.
You were just a determined man.
I don't give up on that stuff. Nope.
Just Info Arsonist says, "Hi, Don Tinybeard." Tinybeard?
Who the hell's that?
Just Info? Yeah, he's
What is he being mean? Why are you being mean to me? I'm actually good. This needs to come down just a little bit. So
Hi, Flyer Tuck. Good to see you as well. Wizard Moon's in here. John Stevenson's in here. Who else am I seeing? Yeah, Jesse, are you new or is this just a new name? I don't know. I don't know who's who. I don't. I don't know anything. I'm just. I wonder if that's Jesse from Small Town. No, it's not. That's Wilkins. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. So I don't know. Or not Small Town, but Hometown Ghost Stories. Jesse's the only. That's the only other Jesse I think I know. But it's great to have you in here. Thank you for checking it out, and hope you like it enough to be subscribed. Because I'm here to tell you that not only do we do Wednesday nights, we do Friday and Saturday nights as well. And by God, there's no better way to spend part of your weekend than right here in the portal.
That's right.
Right, Don?
That's right. How can you go wrong on your weekend when you join Brent and me on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays?
That's
Even
right.
though I'm not usually here on Fridays and Saturdays. But you know who else is here? Yep, Sheldon.
Sheldon gets here. And you know what else we do on these shows, Jesse? In case you're not familiar with it, we do the news.
The news.
It's time for the news, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check it out and see what I've curated for your news interests for this week.
Uh-oh.
Here it comes, Don. Hang on. We're going in. I never forget members. Hey, Don. What did the ghost buy at the liquor store?
A bottle of spirits.
Nope, he bought a lot of booze. Bought a lot of booze. Did you get that?
Why didn't your button?
Okay, yeah, okay.
Why didn't your button work?
Huh? It did. It was just
Oh,
not as loud. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to
Bad Joke Wednesday. Of course, that's my
It's
job.
like every day is bad joke day on this show. It's like if you come for the humor, you've got a low bar for humor.
I can jump that.
I even went out of my way to learn one for tonight's show.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah,
Wow.
yep. There you go. Last one I had was what happened to the grape when he got stepped on? He gave a little whine. So yeah. Yeah, it is painful for me to do those, by the way. I just want you to know.
It's painful as to hear them.
You like that kind of humor, though. Mom does, too. She loves that stuff. Portal Mom, ladies and gentlemen. She's in the house. Good to see you, Mom. Karen Alberding just came in. Rachel, of course, is here.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Rachel.
More of this, more of that. Barbara's here.
Hi, Barb.
And Maggie. How you doing, Maggie? Good to see you.
Maggie.
And yeah, let's get to the news, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor and co-anchor, Don, here. And we're going to do our best to keep you informed about the world around you and hopefully prepare you for another day or something. But let's see what I got here. I pulled them up quite a while ago today, actually. I was kind of noodling around waiting for a download. And I'm like, oh, I'll just pull up some news for later. And I did that, and I forgot what I had. So here we go. The first one up tonight.
Canoodling must mean something different where I'm from.
Oh, dear God. You did not
Just
do
saying.
that. You're talking about catfishing, right? That's the thing they do with the hand.
No,
yeah.
that's just noodling.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not canoodling.
Oh, I didn't say canoodling.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
see, so yeah, I just heard wrong then.
Yep, you did. So here we go. The first article tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is coming from an amazing site. And again, I want you guys to support this site. They really do a phenomenal job. It's a great site for not only news, but just oddities and weird things. And as well as there's submitted stories that people send in of things they've experienced as well on this site. And it's just incredible. So I'm speaking, of course, of unexplained-mysteries.com. And the first story tonight is doctors find metal needle in the brain of an 80-year-old woman.
Wow, that's piercing.
Jesus God. What the hell is wrong with you?
I thought you knew.
I don't know why you're so broken, Don. I still don't know after all these years. Anyway, let's find out what's going on with this woman. This is from October 18th by TK Randall. And it says the woman had seemingly lived for 8 decades with the needle embedded in the left side of her brain. This incredible and disturbing discovery was recently brought to light when the woman underwent a CT scan at a hospital in Russia's Sakhalin region. The needle, which measured 3 centimeters in length, had seemingly been there for her whole life. And yet she'd never experienced any ill effects from it, not even as much as a headache.
How the hell would you...
I don't know.
I just forgot, yeah, somebody stabbed me in the head with a hypodermic needle that's 3 centimeters
Yeah,
long.
I don't know.
About an inch.
Yeah, it's now believed that the needle had been deliberately inserted into her head by her parents.
What?
Oh, dear God.
Were they doing a Jeffrey Dahmer on her?
In a gruesome attempt to kill her as a baby.
Oh, my God. Okay,
Oh,
that explains a lot.
That's sadistic as hell. A practice that was surprisingly not that uncommon in Russia 80 years ago when widespread famine forced parents to commit such unfathomable acts. It says the needle was inserted through a part of the skull that quickly healed, leaving no trace of injury. In this case, however, it seems that the brain tissue developing around the object, leaving the woman able to live a full life without suffering any complications.
Huh.
Doctors have since determined that it would have been too dangerous to remove the needle, especially given that it didn't seem to be causing any problems. In all likelihood, she will go on to live a healthy life for many more years to come. Well, she's already 80 years old. Yeah, she's had a healthy life apparently.
Yeah.
So, but how about that? I mean, this is one of those stories. It leaves you scratching your head anyway, but just because it's hard to understand.
Yeah, I don't know how you could do that. Go through your whole life with a needle in your head.
No, I mean just the parents. How do you get to a point where it's like,
yeah.
oh, can't feed another mouth. Let's grab the sewing kit. Yeah, no. But apparently she turned out okay. So God bless her.
They didn't say it was a hypodermic needle. It may have been just a sewing needle.
Yeah, it might have
just a pin.
Probably was, because I don't think parents, in Russia probably had 80 years ago had hypodermic needles, right? So
Yeah, well,
they just were going to pierce the head and call it a day. But thank God. I mean, that's amazing. I guess that's a pretty happy ending, despite the fact that, I mean, they were such a horror.
Just Info says I had some tooth work done many years ago, and I started getting common mouth infections. Come to find out, at the hospital when the dentist injected the pain numbing into my gums, he broke off the tip.
Oh,
just the tip.
I knew you were going to do that. I was waiting for it. Jesus,
in your gums.
You didn't have to do that too, though.
That's what he said.
Oh.
He said it broke off in my gums. Just the tip.
Just the tip. Oh man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That must have been.
Yeah,
that's horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of stuff.
It really is.
It happens, but
right.
I'm sure they probably didn't even realize it happened.
Wow.
I don't know how much of a length you were dealing with, but yeah, it doesn't surprise me it got infected and stuff. Yep, there you go. So that's the first story: is a needle in this woman's skull for 80 years of her life, pretty much the whole life. Yeah. But she made it, and
no wonder she couldn't find the needle in the haystack.
Yeah, well, there's no way they're gonna find it there. Nobody's looking there.
R.J. Windwalker says only Dawn.
Only Dawn. Yeah,
that's a Dawnism.
Yeah, it's almost like an aneurysm, except with Dawn at the front.
Let me get my needles.
All right, so here comes the next story.
Oh, Barb's chewing me out.
Oh, is she? Good. Yeah, someone's got to do it, and I'm a little busy. Go get him, Barb. All right, next one up is from unexplained-mysteries.com, and this is a New Zealand driver crashes car after being spooked by a ghost.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. At least that's what he's telling the insurance company.
Well, yeah.
He was dealing with a different kind of spirit, rather than imbibing spirits. Come on. Come on, Don. It wasn't that hard. It wasn't that far. The peculiar incident had more to do with the driver's alcohol intake. There it is. Thank you. Thank you. Good
Called
night.
it.
Good night. Good night. That's it. I'm done. No, I'm just kidding. It had more to do with the driver's alcohol intake than the presence of a paranormal entity. According to reports, the strange turn of events occurred in the early hours of Sunday morning in the Dunedin suburb of Waverley, New Zealand. The driver, a 24-year-old man, had gotten himself into a spot of bother after observing what he believed to be...
spot of bother.
That's what it says. What he believed to be a ghost that had tried to flag him down for a ride from the side of the road.
Oh,
Panicked by the presence of this supernatural hitchhiker, he stopped his car, reversed up the road, and then inadvertently backed the vehicle into a ditch where he promptly became stuck. It wasn't long before police had arrived on the scene, and according to Senior Sergeant Anthony Bond, the ghost that had left the man so spooked was in fact little more than a pedestrian who had been trying to flag down a passing car for a lift. A breath test was also revealed that the panic driver had been under the influence of copious quantities of alcohol. That's not just your normal
Is that
drunk.
like a plethora?
Yeah, that's not your
More
normal.
than you need?
That's not your normal level of drunk, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah,
Only
somebody
New
needed a
Zealand,
ride.
Yes, I don't know. The only ones that give them a run for the money is there's the Aussies.
The Aussies. Yeah, they can put some away, can't they? I think it's probably a good thing though, because that dude should not have been behind the wheel anyway. So
Yeah.
probably a good thing he got scared
stuck.
up off the road.
Yep.
He might have killed somebody. I mean, God.
Well, there's already been at least one person that's died there.
Yeah. Well,
He's flagging you from the side of the road.
well, the car. Yeah, it's the person's car or
The
whatever.
ghost.
Well, no, it wasn't a ghost. It was somebody looking for a lift.
Oh.
He thought it was a ghost because he was so
That's what he
inebriated.
said,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, I don't know. Maybe I just missed it. Anyway, interesting. I'm glad he got pulled off the road because that's disturbing. Don't drive under the influence of anything. You know.
Just Info says the part of the syringe tip that was actually in my gum was there for about 2 years before it started becoming infected.
Wow.
It was about a half a fingernail long at the hospital when they pulled it out.
That's still pretty long, though, right?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, widthways or you
yeah,
know.
which way was it? You know, but actually, your fingernails are pretty square. Actually, if you look at them.
Sure.
But you know, so they're wide as they are long, generally.
Well,
Unless you got like hammer fingers.
I'm glad you got it out of there, but that must have been a hell of a thing too, just to get it out of there, because I'm sure they had to slice up your gum tissue to get to it. But yeah, that's terrible. Wow. And it's pretty amazing it took that long to get infected.
And mouth pain is horrible.
Oh God, I've
my
had
God,
too much of that in my life. Yeah.
I've wanted to drive my car through a police office one time.
Just to make it stop.
Just to get to a hospital. I literally was planning to drive through the front doors.
Yeah. Well, you said your face was swelled.
Yeah, it was swollen from the middle of my chin all the way to my left ear.
Good Lord.
And it was just horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. You I'm glad you got that taken care of. That'll wreck your day.
Yeah.
Now here's an interesting one. This one has more to do with space, and I think it's kind of interesting. I don't know. Maybe we'll just end with this one because the next one is just an announcement about a show.
Maggie says, "Don't know what you mean, Brent and Don." Because she's in Australia.
All right. So here's the next article from unexplained-mysteries.com. NASA launches mission to visit a 10,000 quadrillion dollar asteroid. In other words, 10 quintillion, right?
No.
Quintillion comes after. I know, but it's 10,000 quadrillion. So that would be 10 quintillion, I think, is how that works.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. And then sextillion and whatever comes next. But yeah. That's crazy. The space agency's Psyche spacecraft will be the first ever to attempt to directly visit a metal asteroid.
Psych.
Yeah. Psych. Named after a figure in Greek mythology who achieved immortality.
Right.
16 Psyche, which is almost entirely composed of nickel iron metal, is worth so much money that its value would completely dwarf the meager $78 trillion of all the world's economies combined.
Wow.
Measuring at around 240 kilometers across, it is situated in the asteroid belt, which between Mars and Jupiter, and is believed to be the exposed iron core of the protoplanet left over from the early solar system.
That's crazy.
Right? NASA's Psyche mission, which is launched on October 13th, will take 6 years to reach the asteroid, which is located at a distance of 2 billion miles away from the Earth. Scientists are hoping that the mission will teach us more about the formation of planets. It's long been humans' dream to go to the metal core of our Earth. I mean, ask Jules Verne, said mission lead scientist Linda Elkins Tanton of Arizona State University.
Wow.
The pressure is too high, the temperature is too high, the technology is impossible, but there's one way in our solar system that we can look at a metal core, and that's by going to this asteroid. In addition, the scientific benefits visiting such a valuable asteroid could represent a step towards mining precious materials from asteroids like this one in the not-too-distant future. You know they can't wait to get up there and start farming those asteroids.
Yeah.
I mean, you imagine there could be billions of pounds of gold just floating out there.
How much was that? 10,000 quadrillion?
Yeah, 10,000.
Nickel iron?
Yeah, it's all nickel iron, yeah.
That'd be crazy.
right? Yeah, I mean, good Lord. That's incredible. I don't know if this isn't actually, apparently this is actually a photo. This is image credit NASA. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a facsimile of it or whatever. But yeah, that's crazy, dude. That's a lot of cash just floating out there. What did it say it was? How big?
240
40 kilometers.
across.
Yeah. I mean, God, that's amazing.
That's just across. That's just from one side to the other. That's not the actual volume of the...
Oh, yeah, right. Yep.
That's just how big it is across.
That's like pole to pole or along the equator or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of metal just sitting there floating. But might have been what's left over from the inside of the planet. So
Unfortunately, it's not all heavy metal.
no, there's probably probably not. Probably not all heavy. Well, I think nickel iron is pretty heavy.
I don't know. Iron's pretty heavy, but I don't know if nickel iron changes it a bit. But
I don't know. All right. Well, there you go, folks. And this has been a presentation of the Paranormal Portal News.
Already?
Hopefully you are all informed. And yeah, I only do a few of these now. I don't do the 6 or 7 that I used to because it ended up eating half the show. It's like, I like the news, but I don't like that much news. But anyway, let's get back to the rest of the show and figure out what else we got in store for you. All right. See you there.
So the unknown says, wouldn't it be awesome if an asteroid full of gold landed right in your house? Wait, I take that back. Yeah, because you don't want to talk that into being. You know, have you ever seen the movie Donnie Darko?
Donnie Darko?
Yeah, because it begins with a frozen ball of blue stuff crashing through his house into his bed.
Oh no, I don't think I think I rented that a few times, but never actually watched it.
Yeah, I can't
in the
actually
day.
tell you anything more than that because it'd give everything away. So yeah, It was a good movie, Barb. Yep, it was a good movie.
So according to Batman, it's pentillion. So pentillion. Ah, all right. I thought it was quintillion. Huh. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Well, I believe him. What comes after quadrillion? Yeah, I was thinking quadrillion. Yeah, the next number is quintillion, which is followed by sextillion, septillion, octillion, nonillion, and so on. Okay. Well, that's just a big, big number. So
yeah, it's a huge number.
Yeah. So it is quintillion. Sorry, Batman. I just had to check because I was like, wait a minute. I think I'm right. So, but you're right. Pent means 5 as well. All right.
Turd had a frozen poop ball.
What?
That's right.
What?
Oh, so the blue though. So Jaron says, show that. That's fine. Gosh, I wouldn't. Jaron says Joe Dirt had a frozen poop ball. Yeah, it's from an airplane, and that's what the blue was from in Donnie Darko. Anyhow.
All right. Okay. Well, there you go, folks. That was the first part of our show, and hopefully you feel a little informed. You learned maybe something.
Batman says I was guessing.
Oh, were you? Okay. I thought, well.
That was an educated guess, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I was right. I was like, wait a minute. I think I'm right. So that's why I checked it. But, pentillion was a good guess. For sure. Nice job.
Rachel, you don't want to be Frank. You just want to be Rachel. It's okay. You don't have to be special. That's special.
Well,
you're special to us.
All you guys are special to us.
I'm just special.
Yeah, let's see. How about we do some shout-outs quick, Don? Do you
guys
want some shout-outs?
Shout-outs quick?
Yeah.
Quick. Okay, let's do some shout-outs. So participants today, and it's a short list, so people better get chatting. And we're just going to start off with Mom.
Mom's here. Of course, Mom's here.
So we've got Aggravated Progressive, Batman, Drake C just popped in, Flyer Tuck, Grumpy Al, how you doing, Grumpy? Jaron's here, how you doing, buddy? John, how are you? Just Info, Maggie M10, more of this, more of that. She's awesome. I love that cut, by the way. It's going to be part of my set. But anyhow, RJ Windwalker, Rachel gets it right, Ron the Sage, The Unknown, Weapon X5, and Wizard Moon 13. And somebody just popped
K-Love.
in. K-Love. And Karen. Hi, Karen.
K-Love and Karen.
And fourth color. All right. Shout outs are done.
Welpen X5. Did you get that?
Who? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't hear that. Okay.
Wah.
Wah, wah, wah. All right. So that is the shout outs. All right. Let's see what's next here. I found this article.
Article.
Which one was I going to do? Oh, I was going to do this one. I was going to do this one because it's kind of, it's not really a trail cam terror, but I thought this was really interesting.
I have that picture. That's the one we sent to.
Okay, nobody else can see it yet.
Oh.
Just wait. Just wait. Here we go. Because it's time for the trail cam terrors.
Oh.
All right, folks, we are going to be looking at this today on the trail cam terrors, and this isn't really a trail cam or security system or anything of modern, but it's an old discovery that took place quite a while ago, and I wanted to read it to you because I found this fascinating, and I've known about this for a lot of years. And Don, you've been familiar with this one too.
Yeah.
It's called the leprechaun shoe, and this is pretty fascinating to me. You'll see why in a little bit as I read it. If you're not familiar with it, oftentimes people talk about the little people, and of course we know them from legend and folk tales and such. The world over, it's not any one specific area. Although there's the gnomes, the fairies, the pixies, the elves, the etc. All over the Pukwudgies, the duende, etc. So brownies, more and more and more. But this was a little shoe that was found, and it gets pretty interesting. So I'm not saying it is anything, but what if it is? This could be substantial proof that these little people are out there. So let's check it out. It says, here are 3 accounts. The same fairy relic that we're speaking about, different parts of Ireland. See also the little shoe. Okay. So it's the leprechaun shoe. Crofton Crocker wrote, a paragraph recently appeared in the Kilkenny paper, this is from 1824, stating that a laborer returning home in the dusk of the evening discovered a leprechaun at work, from whom he bore away the shoe which he was mending, as proof of the veracity of his story. It was further stated that the shoe lay for inspection of the curious at the newspaper office. The most prominent feature was the vulgar creed. I don't even know what that means for sure. Sounds bad. Here's another one. Are you aware that on this side of the channel, i.e. in Ireland, we have so little doubt of the existence of fairies that it is no uncommon occurrence to see shoes of fairy manufacture publicly advertised in the newspapers?
Wow.
I don't know if that's true. Sounds like a yarn to me. But if I tell you that while crossing the field of the purple light in the morning, the attention of a peasant was arrested by the sound of a shoemaker's hammer, and that upon leaving the path to discover the cause, he disturbed an elfin cobbler, who it seems was at his trade betimes, and mending his brogues with the side of by the side of the ditch, that in the spirit of the air, anxious to escape from the prying eyes of mortal wight, leapt from the bank, and in this haste dropped both shoe and hammer. If I go on to tell you that this story is most gravely related, and that the editor informs the public that both the shoe and the hammer were carried to such a house in such a street in a certain town in the county of Roscommon, and may there be viewed by any curious or incredulous persons, you will, I think, acknowledge that my tale has at least a better foundation than many which are related to our disadvantage, and but too readily swallowed by the credulity of our English friends. And that was from 1825.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah, it's hard to read. It was found by a farm laborer in this last segment on the Beara Peninsula, southwest Ireland, in 1835. It is black, worn at the heel, and styled like that of an 18th century gentleman. But it is also only 2 7/8 inches long. So it's 2 7/8 inches long,
About that.
and 7/8 of an inch wide at its widest. So too long and narrow even for a doll's shoe. If it were an apprentice piece, say, how did it come to be found on a remote sheep track? Why was it made in the style of the previous century? Why is it such an odd shape? How did it come to be worn? So in other words, the heel was actually worn from use. The man who found the shoe assumed it belonged to the little people and gave it to the local doctor, for whom it passed to the Somerville family in Castle Townshend, County Cork. On a lecture tour of America, the author, Dr. Edith Somerville, gave the shoe to Harvard University scientists who examined it minutely.
That's the only way you can examine something.
Yeah. The shoe had tiny hand stitches
Wow.
and well-crafted eyelets, but no laces, and was thought to be of mouse skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. What is the take on that? Is it, I mean, obviously there's a few origin stories that are believed to be attributed to this shoe. Which one is it? And maybe it's none of them. Maybe it was some craft work, but apparently the stitches are absolutely tiny, almost,
Yeah.
almost impossible to have been done by human hands. So it would seem. I don't know. I've never looked at it. I've never seen it, but there is a thimble here.
Right.
And for any of you sewers out there that are familiar with these, I mean, it's not much bigger than a Monopoly piece
Nope.
that they represent. I mean, it's meant to fit over a fingertip and used for sewing. So is it made of mouse skin, tanned mouse hide? I mean, could that be evidence of some other little people?
Barb says, I'd like to think it's real. Yeah, absolutely.
I do too. I'm right there with you, Barb. I love the idea that these guys are out there. I really do, because it's just another, and here's my take on it, and believe from it what you will or take from it what you will, but if you can believe there are 10 to 12 feet hairy ape-like men
Right.
out in the forest, there are 10-ish feet or better wolf people, there are these always naked, emaciated looking crawler humanoids, there are possibly not deer out there, there are any number of things. There could be a Loch Ness monster, there could be a chupacabra, there could be. So why do you stop there? Well, this is what is there, and then I don't believe in all this other stuff.
Right.
So how can you accept some as possible and yet categorically dismiss anything else from the ability to exist? And that's my take on it. It's like if you accept one thing as real,
You have to open to the possibility of other things.
right? Yeah, in my opinion, you do. You can't just draw a line and say, well, I'm willing to bet that there's these hominoids running around, or hominids running around, that are, avoiding us. And I believe there's ghosts. I believe there's UFOs and Dogman, but not all this other stuff. It's like scribble, scribble, scribble. And so if one thing can exist, any of it can exist.
Right.
And if one thing does exist, there's chance that there's some merit to the rest of these.
Right.
So, but you be the judge. I can't tell you what you need to believe or don't need to believe. It all gets down to individual choice. But I found this shoe to be absolutely fascinating to me. It came from a site called Fairylist, FAIRYIST.com. And there's lots of information and stuff out here on this site dealing with this stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's cool. Look
Yeah.
what I got.
what?
Look what I got. That video.
Oh, you did, yeah. Oh.
It's on my computer.
Yeah,
I
I'll
found
bet
it
it
and went,
is.
yep. You know what else I got? I got this too. This is pretty cool.
Wait, is that a different take of it?
No, that's the same one.
We'll go back to it.
Oh, I just
you
lost
just
it
closed
because I
it?
closed
Okay.
it. But hang on a sec, I can get back.
That looked like like it was more far away. Like the version that I see I don't remember the table.
Oh no,
being
it was no, the table's there.
So Don's
It's just
showing
that-
me the white crawler video that's
Yeah, see.
really famous out there. I don't. Oh yeah.
And
oh
he does,
God,
and he moves in a little closer.
that is so twisted. That just
I know.
really bugs the hell out of
I
me.
had to download it. I'm like, I gotta have that. And the other thing I got is this here.
we're having our own personal show. Oh yeah. I got that. I got
Yeah.
the demon scream. Yeah.
I had to get it.
Yep. I've got that. Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. My delay.
Sorry. So what this I could play it for you guys.
Oh my God, it's
This
awesome.
is the most horrid sound I've ever heard. The backstory on this, and I guess it could be included in Trail Cam Terrors too, because it is definitely something that was captured.
Absolutely.
But just a little forewarning.
We're gonna
Creepy.
creep you out real quick.
It's really, really, really creepy, and I gotta see if I can find it here. It's in one of my folders. But it's the isolated noise that apparently was captured on a EVP.
And nobody heard it.
Nobody
Nobody heard it live.
Well, the story goes is that a family lived in this house, and they were being tormented, unable to sleep through the night because of these horrid screams that would wake them all up, and they were just at their wits' end. There was something weird and horrible going on, and they didn't know what to do, so they called in an investigator, and the investigator came, and over a period of 3 nights, he would leave 2 audio digital recorders. Or they might have been cassette even. They might have been cassette recorders. But he'd leave them down in the basement recording and then come back in the morning. He came back the first night or that first morning, checked them, there was nothing recorded, nothing unusual. Came back the second night, nothing recorded, nothing unusual. Came back the third night. And the sound you're going to hear is still to this day one of the most disturbing noises I've ever heard in my life.
Turn your volumes down just a little bit.
Yeah, you might want to back off your ears. If you're listening with headphones, back your volume down a little bit, because it's plenty loud.
It's giving me chills just listening, just thinking about it.
It is. I've heard it hundreds of times, and it still bothers me as much today
Jaron says, "Damn, I'm scared."
as the first time I've heard it.
You haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, wait till you hear this, and we'll discuss it a little bit. But this was the EVP that was captured on the third night, and it gives you an idea of what this family had been dealing with. It's coming.
Great timing.
It's coming. Oh, it's coming. That was what was recorded.
That is scary as hell.
You can hear the torment.
Yes.
You can hear the agony. You can hear the rage.
Aggravated Progressive says, "Okay, get in the car. We're leaving." Yeah, it's crazy.
You can hear all of that in that sound, and it's the most. I mean, I like to think that I'm pretty stoic about all this stuff, but,
yeah, but that's
if
crazy.
I heard that, there's no way in hell I'm going to look.
I'd throw a line of brown right out the damn door.
Yeah. RJ went. Yeah, it's a very old file. It's been on the internet
it's been
forever.
Out there for a while. Yeah.
I will tell you that the source of it came from an investigator's page who had maybe 50 subs.
Yeah.
When I pulled it, and whether I should have or not, I don't know. But it's one of those things. It was just such a horrifying noise that I had to have a copy.
It was recorded in the basement of the house.
Yeah. Where was it to take an echo like that? Do you know, Brent? It was in the basement of this home. So, it does have a little bit of ambience to it.
It does sound like it's in pain.
Yeah, it's
like 10,000 years of agony.
Right, and so it's like some tormented soul, for lack of a better word. But it doesn't sound human. It just But again, the source of this file was not some big blown out viral clip of something. Right. It was from this real small investigator's YouTube page. But yeah, creepy stuff.
David says no sleep tonight. Thanks. That's our job. And if you haven't seen that rake video, oh God.
Yeah.
That rake video is just
that's disturbing to do. And it's a lot of people just that rake thing is fake, but I don't think so.
I don't know.
The first time I saw that video and
that's one of the ones I believe.
I do too, because it just feels wrong. I mean, it feels like intuitively wrong. Like, ugh, I don't want to be anywhere near that, whatever that is.
Yeah.
But this has been a production of the Trail Cam Terrors.
As in, what the hell did we just do?
Now there's 3 people listening.
Yeah, exactly. They're all gone. We freaked them out. And then you play that. Nowhere near as scary.
That's just a wolf howl, though. We can handle a wolf howl. That's a natural sound.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I can post. You know what? I'm gonna. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
So let me see here. Where would I put it?
So,
Dogman, Bigfoot, cryptids. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see here. So, sorry, don't mind me, please.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Sorry, what?
What are you saying? What are you saying?
Upload a file. That's what I need to do.
There we go. So anyway, that was Trail Cam Terrors. I don't know. It's just some weird oddities. I love that little shoe though. That to me is
That shoe is awesome.
It's
I've had that picture for a long time.
yeah. I mean, you know, these stories are born of you know, folklore and legend, but they're based on something. And so a little shoe was found. Well, to me, it's definitely worth considering. Again, because I have no trouble believing there's big feet out there, that there's dogmen out there, and there's UFOs in the sky, and any other number of things. So I'm good with all of it. I don't, you know, again, where I personally have trouble with any of this is understanding the nature of them, obviously, because we just don't know any of these things. What are they doing? Why are they choosing our absence? You know, why do they avoid us? All of them, you know, or what is going on? Did we leave such a bad footprint in this planet that none of these other things want anything to do with us? And that to me is tragic if that's the case, because, you know, I think when you look at legends and histories and stuff, they talk, and even in the fantasy realms, you know, they talk of these communities where you'd go into a village and you'd see maybe orcs, maybe a giant or two, or halflings and all these other ideas. But they were like this community. Well, maybe not the giants and orcs, but anyway, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Right.
there was a knowledge of each other and a you know existence, a coexistence, even though it was often brutal in those tales and ideas.
Batman.
But what did Batman say?
He says, "I guess that shoe is just another lost soul."
I got to give you a rim shot for that one. That was pretty good.
I think I've rubbed off onto these people. I don't know.
It's like a dehumidifier sucking the moisture right out of the air. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyway, sorry, you know, I mean, it's a little unplanned what we went into tonight. I did want to do the shoe thing because that was cool, but yeah, well, since you brought up the Scream,
Yeah, sorry.
I haven't brought that on the show for a long, long time, and it still gives me chills.
Yeah.
Like the first time I heard it, it's like, oh, that sound. Oh, that sound. All right. So anyway, there's a lot more we're gonna get to here. What time we got? About 7:50. So yeah, we can start diving into the cryptid corner. What do you think, Don?
Sure, let's dive into the cryptid corner, which coincides with what I just posted in the Discord.
Oh yeah. You put it in there?
Yeah,
Okay.
I put it in there, and I put the link in the I'll put it in there again. So there it is.
Okay.
All right, so there's the link to the if you missed
The
it the first time.
Discord.
The Discord.
There's the Discord link. If you're a member of our Discord, you can go check it out after the show. Not now. Don't check it out now, because we got more coming for you right now.
Yeah, D, I might need a wet wipe. I think I might have a little brown in my trousers.
All right, here we go, folks. We're going to go to the cryptid corner, and of course, we're going to be visiting. First and foremost, we're going to be visiting Sasquatch Chronicles blog.
Just info, just totally outed me. When Dawn's on, we all think wrong.
There's groupthink, and then there's Don think.
And then there's Dawn think. Donsons and Donisms.
The IQ goes down about 15 points. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah.
You're actually an incredibly intelligent guy.
Don't no.
You're not?
No.
Oh, I think you are.
I just
You teach me more words than I've ever taught you. It's like, God, you're very well read. All right, we're going to go to Sasquatch Chronicles blog, ladies and gentlemen, and dig into some of these listener emails that Wes has received that he posts on the blog over there. Again, special thanks to Wes for letting us
giving us carte blanche to his
carte
blog.
blanche.
Yep.
We appreciate the carte blanche to use everything on his site and entertaining you with it. it's a win-win.
We introduce you to him, and we get to use his stories. It's pretty freaking awesome.
I was actually kind of floored by that. Some of the people that I was talking about this on one of the shows recently, and I was like, I mean, everybody knows who Wes is, and some people were like, no, you know what? I found Wes after I found you. I found your show first, and then you were talking, and so it feels good to have brought some traffic to Wes, to just to say, hey, thanks, brother. So very cool. All right, so the first one up tonight. I don't know why I'm still so hoarse from being sick. I'm not still sick, but it's like my body still hasn't quite caught up with everything.
I'm not. What Batman and what are they? What does that mean?
What?
I don't know. I'm gonna wait.
Okay, well, all right. Let's go to this article. This is October 15th.
Luna Moonicorn says, "I found pee-pee first when I got on Wes's site."
Oh, okay. Nice.
That's a Paranormal Portal, dear.
Yeah, let's not abbreviate that. All right. First article, October 15th. We were frozen looking at it. A listener writes, well, I finally got up the nerve to send this. Back in 2015, I was at junior high school. My buddy had called me to see if I wanted to go hang out and see his new toy. The new toy was a Jeep Wrangler at YJ that was abandoned. Even more interesting was that it was abandoned by a gentleman that later that same year went to his friend's house and took him out, like with a firearm apparently. He had some issues, I guess. So whilst we went out there, we swapped from my brother's truck to mine and proceeded to meet them in the woods. So this is Sweden, Maine. This is Sweden, Maine, where we found this. I imagine, is that a town in Maine? Okay, I don't know. Kind of the middle of nowhere. So we get to this Jeep, and my friend and my brother's friend go into the Jeep, leaving my brother and I with my pickup in this clearing. We noticed it was very quiet where we were. Right about then is when a gumball-sized rock landed between us. We looked at each other and played it off. Both kind of bothered. We agreed to go towards the entry of the trail to get out of there. Guess it felt safer. Well, when we got a little further down the trailer, my brother pulled over. I think he means the trail. He always drove, and it was getting kind of dark, probably 6:30 or 7 p.m. in May.
It's dark like that in May?
I guess.
All right.
When I jumped out and I looked at this tree too, admiring the sky. I saw an entire flock of birds fly out of this tree.
Oh, that's fucking ridiculous.
I proceeded to slowly drop my head down, looking at the tree the whole time. When I got to the middle of the tree is when I saw something. I saw a figure in the woods. Left arm and leg obscured by the tree, as if its left palm was against the tree, and it was rocking slightly, and it had a long arm that I could see on its right side and a big build. I couldn't see the feet, but the head and shoulder, torso, and leg, all on the left, was clearly visible as a silhouette. It was rocking slightly left to right, and I could see it breathe. I looked at my brother, and he was frozen looking at it, and I asked him, "What is that?" He only responded with, "Get in the truck." I looked back, and it was still standing there, swaying. I looked back at my brother and said, "What the hell is that?" To which my brother responded with, "Get the hell in the truck." And my door was still open, so I kind of dove backwards into it, and my brother quickly had it started and the clutch already out and fishtailing away. I couldn't bring myself to look backwards, but we were spooked. There was an interesting situation with a set of lights behind us upon our escape, but I'm not sure what to make of it. We called the friends that we were leaving, so they either had to ditch the Jeep or drive it back to his house. Oddly, they too sounded distressed, but they agreed to meet on the trail. We flew back down the trail, driving way faster than anyone should. We came up to them, and they stuffed the Jeep in the woods. What caught my attention next was they ran, and I mean ran, to my truck, keeping a hand on my hood the whole time. I slid up against my brother so as to make room for them. It was a regular cab, and we drove out of there with my brother and I not wanting to get played, asked them why they were so worked up. They stated to us that they had gotten stuck for a moment, and whilst working it out of the mud, something slapped the side of the Jeep and rocked it side to side.
Oh, wow.
It was too dark for them to see anything until under the heavy tree canopy and the night setting in more. It certainly was a wild time. Only other thing was some vocalizations the year prior that sounded exactly like the other howl captured in Maine. Well, that's my story, Wes, and thanks for doing what you do. Yeah, that's wild.
Crazy. Yep.
It's, I mean, they just seem to take any opportunity they can to come see what we're up to.
Yep.
I think that we're probably always being watched. I mean, I don't pretend to know how many of them are out there.
Right.
But I think if they're in an area and they know people are there, they are on us, like
Right.
from the moment we enter until the moment we leave.
Yep. Rachel says, sorry.
She said sorry? Oh,
No,
okay.
no,
It's okay, Rachel.
No. She says, never pause and question the person who says, get in the truck, especially at night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get the hell in the truck.
Just, yeah, save the questions for later.
Get in the truck, ask while we're driving away.
Amen to that, Rachel. That's sage advice for sure.
Just Info, I've already done that, and it was good. It was a good story. Just Info says, I'm going to ask Chat GPT to write a Bigfoot encounter. I've already done it. It was pretty cool.
Okay, very cool. All right, let's get to the next one. And
I
this
also
is
cheated and have it write an essay for me.
all right. This is from Sasquatch Chronicles blog, and it's October 14th. Strange hike in Utah. Utah, Don.
Yep, Uta.
A listener writes, when I was about 8, I went on a hike with my family, which is fairly uncommon for us. We're always outside, just never on a hike. We were a family of 6 at the time. And me, 8 years old, my 2 sisters, 9 and 6, and my younger brother, 7, and my mom. We went on the hike in Utah about 20 minutes from my home, and the area we hiked was inside a basin between 3 peaks called Low Peak, Flat Top Mountain, and Bald Mountain East. It was a very green area, and lots of streams and creeks. Very thick forest. It was very thick forest, and hundreds of deer inside that small area, and a lot of cattle, rabbits, small mammals, etc. So plenty of things to sustain large mammals. Apparently, there were over 1,000 grizzly bear in the 1800s that were all killed off according to my dad. So we went on the hike, and we saw a lot of wildlife, deer and praying mantis eggs,
Wow.
hummingbirds, woodpeckers, streams along the way. About an hour into the hike, I said, let's knock on a tree for Bigfoot. Or it says, said. Maybe I said, I don't know. I said, let's knock on a tree for Bigfoot. I remember saying that vividly, and I did the knock. No answer. And I knock again, and I get an answer. And I'm freaking out because I got an answer. And I thought it was no big deal at the time because I watched Finding Bigfoot, and they made it sound like it was common to get a response. Now that I've listened to your podcast, I realize it is super rare to get a reply. Mm-hmm. Later on our way back in the same area, we heard the most blood-curdling scream that was one of the loudest things I ever heard. It was a mix between a cow screaming and a dying rabbit, and I'm very familiar with both. I live on a farm town and go coyote hunting all the time, so very familiar. The only difference was it was scary, and I can feel it in my chest. Mm-hmm. It was terrifying to the point where we were going to stop at a stream and play. Instead, we just left as soon as we heard that. Yeah, good call. I think if you hear screams, that's a great get the hell out of here moment, right, Don?
Yeah. That's always a great time to, take your leave.
Vamoose.
Get the hell out.
Yep, get the hell out.
I got to tell you, and one of the greatest chat names I've ever seen, and she just popped in, Misfire Jack. That's like my cowboy name, Misfire Jack.
Misfire Jack?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you.
You've met her in
nice.
person.
I have? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Very cool. That's cool. All right. Well, good to see you.
But Misfire Jack, that would be my cowboy name. It's like,
Yeehaw.
so you want to go out and gunfight? Nope. Why? My name's Misfire Jack.
These guns don't work well.
Guns don't work.
All right. Let's go to the next story.
That's an awesome name.
It is a cool name. Yeah. We got a lot of cool names in there. Our chat, we got a lot of cool community. All right. Let's go to the next one. And this is from Sasquatch Chronicles as well. Because it was a whole buffet over on Wes's site today. So I went and farmed it up.
He was serving it up.
I was out there rotating the crops. October 13th, a very uneasy feeling. A listener writes, September 6th,
Isn't that an Eagles song?
Huh?
Oh, no. Sorry. Never mind.
Peaceful, easy feeling, you mean?
No, peaceful, easy. Yeah, not uneasy. Yeah.
That could be another song. A very uneasy feeling.
Probably.
I got a very uneasy feeling, and I hope it's not a freaking squatch.
Oh, my God. I was wrong. It's a freaking rake.
There you go.
That would suck. Anyhow, so
All right.
Off the rails again.
Yeah, well, it's where we live, Don.
That's where we live. Yeah.
All right, a listener writes, September 6th, approximately 7:30 p.m., 2 distinct tree knocks. Heard two more about 11:30 p.m. and 2 more about 3 a.m.
Wow.
This person was up all night.
I would be too.
Yeah, I guess. September 7th, so this is more like a logbook, I guess. About 7:30 to 8 p.m., Jan makes 2 tree knocks, thinks nothing of it. Approximately 10 p.m., sitting around small campfire, totally black outside and dead calm. Like sitting in a vacuum. Out of nowhere, just inside the tree line, within 30 yards from us, came the loudest noise I've ever heard. It was like a war cry and a scream and a deep guttural roar that chilled us to the bone. It was so loud, like an ear piercing. We couldn't believe what was happening. It happened 2 times in succession. It was horrifying. In my state of shock, I screamed the loudest I've ever screamed in my life. At that moment, we went inside our camper and tried to regain our composure. It was a very restless night, to say the least. No more incidents that night. Wonder what the Squatch was thinking. Like, hey, shut up. It was my turn.
Right.
This person's having a contest. September 8th, no incidents. September 9th, no incidents. Probably because you screamed at him last time.
Oh.
September 10th. Got to keep myself libated. All right. Approximately 9 p.m., sitting around our campfire. It was already black and dead calm outside. I was getting this very uneasy feeling we were being watched. We sat out for about another hour, and I said, I'm having a very uneasy feeling, so we decided best to go into the camper. I asked my wife not to put any lights on, so we kept it dark. The fire was still burning, so it was emitting light a bit outside. I pulled up a seat at the window and quietly sat there, looking out. Within 10 to 15 minutes, I saw eye shine.
Uh-oh.
This is from the campfire lights, and as I watched it, it was moving its head, going from side to side. The eyes would appear and then disappear. At first, I thought only one creature, but then off to the side, more eyes appeared, and a third set.
Wow.
Ooh. Yeah, where there's one, there's always more. They are not usually very solitary creatures. I know there was at least 3 creatures along the tree line watching us. I didn't mention anything until the next morning, so as not to scare the wife anymore.
Good idea.
This continued for maybe 10 minutes or more, and then disappeared. Again, another restless night with no sleep. These eye shine incidents were no more than 20 to 25 yards maximum from our camper. That's really close. Jeez. Mm-hmm. September 11th, this next morning at about 9 a.m., I went over to the area where I saw the eye shine for a look. We had our pet cat with us.
Wow.
Wow, go get him, Tiger. With us on the camping trip, and I had him with me. He took one whiff of the area and bolted back to the camper. He was terrified. I put him back inside and stood outside and looked and listened. In a short time, off in the distance, I heard 2 more loud screams. This was the time to pack up and get out of there, so we did. The one thing I need to mention is that where our camper was, there was a berm which then dropped about 5 or 6 feet to the forest floor. So the eyes I was seeing was above this berm.
Yep.
And this would put the creature's height at least 7 feet or taller. And to have its head able to look over this berm. All in all, it was a terrifying few days, to say the least.
Wow.
You know, that's the thing. You know, so I totally get, you know, wanting to substantiate these things are there. But what if you do? I mean, what if one shows up?
Right.
What then? I mean, because it's literally, I mean, and God bless those people that believe they are peaceful and loving creatures. I hope you're right. I honestly do.
Right.
I just don't know. But what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong? And this is like, hungry. You know? I mean, you know, we're not fast. We're not agile. We're not outside of our technology or weaponry. We would be
we're
helpless. Yeah, babes.
Yeah.
You know, and so what if it is? I mean, here's the thing: the First Nation have stories of people being hauled away and never seen again by these creatures. And these are, you know, the First Nations were living with them for thousands of years before we ever crossed the horizon. So I do trust their histories on this, and at least consider that there's a strong possibility that you can either be a meal or ignored. I mean, those are the two options.
I'll take the second. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I'd take the ignored too. But I don't know, at least for me, I just don't think, because, you know, some people have this idea of them.
Right.
But I think it's extraordinarily potentially dangerous to assume that is the only truth possible here. I do believe that there's probably a full spectrum of behaviors that these things can exhibit, and maybe even different kinds of them.
Right.
Like maybe there's tribes where they're more cannibalistic, just like there were cannibalistic tribes, and probably still are, in our world. Now that doesn't mean every person you see, you got to wonder, is it going to eat me? But there's some that might, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
We don't think of like other people as on the menu, but
No.
if you're in a certain part of the world, in a certain circumstances, you could be the menu. And so, you know what I mean? I mean, you just can't, I just don't understand. Like if you do find them, you're really like literally dice roll how this is going to go. And generally speaking, I will say that 90% of the time you'd be right that there'd be nothing going on. And, you know, probably 9.9% of the time they're going to push you out or want you to leave.
Right.
But then there's the people that don't ever come back. And what if some of those are the missing people,
Right.
are part of the menu?
Rachel says pepper spray would just be human seasoning to a
Yeah, that'd be like a
hungry
marinade, for
Bigfoot.
God's
Yeah,
sakes.
exactly.
Yeah.
I use it on my ribs.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. It's just, I can't imagine being this close, knowing that they're right outside, and all you've got is a flimsy sheet metal camper wall.
Right.
They would come through that like cardboard, you know. There's plenty of abandoned campers, I guess up in Alaska, that are just shredded, where the bears just, you know, it's basically just a chassis with a bunch of garbage around
Right.
it, because they shredded everything.
Yep.
So, you know, a camper is really not a protective enclosure. Anyway, I don't mean to inspire or suggest you have to be afraid, but God, you just don't know what you're getting.
Well, and Misfire Jack says, I feel people forget that they're just another animal in the big scheme of things.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, you know, we're horrible enough, you know, well, and we're mostly horrible to ourselves, which is horrible as well. But yeah, I mean, you unpredictable. You know, you can say, oh, you know, you can hear everything you want. You know, 20 different types of Bigfoot, and the Gugwe, or the mean ones with the baboon nose, and they're mean and they'll eat you. Blah 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 blah. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that Patty wouldn't eat you either.
Right. I mean, you know,
Because we base it on the looks. The more ugly something is, the more viciousness we attribute to it.
yeah.
But if it looks calm and it's got nice sleek hair and looks like it's from California, which Patty was, it must be kind. It must be nice. No. I've seen French bulldogs go after people. God forbid. No, yeah, you're right.
I think it's just definitely you've got to be prepared for
Yep.
it not being a real positive experience. Here's the next one. This one's more of a video though. I guess it is plenty of narrative. I'm not going to play the video part of this because I don't know what the video is. Upcoming show. What the creature did I see in the woods? This is on Wes's channel.
It's on Wes's channel.
I guess we could take a peek just to see what is going on here.
And the trunk of the tree was surrounded by foliage, top, bottom, left, and right. But I could see the middle of the trunk of the tree, and there was a black creature holding the trunk of the tree with his left arm, and he was holding a very large log, like the kind you would put in your fireplace, with his right hand, and he was beating on that tree very harshly and loudly and quickly. It was very unrepetitious, and I can't say I really believed in Bigfoot before then, but I know enough that they are supposedly communicate with beating on trees with logs, and I saw it, and I knew exactly what it was, and I still didn't believe it.
Wow.
My brain just kind of went blank for a second. I should have picked up my phone. It was in my hand, and taken a picture, and instead I stood up out of my chair, and right when I did that, the creature saw me, and he just dropped off the trunk of the tree, just dropped to the ground.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. So, I mean, that's powerful. It was great. It had a log and it was hitting. Oftentimes, people wonder, well, how is this a tree knock? Was that a tree knock that she heard then, or is this something different?
Well, she said he was wailing on it. So.
Yeah. So it sounds like, well, sometimes the tree knocks are really aggressive, like dot 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 dot. But
Pissed off Squatch.
yeah, yeah, POS, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I don't know. I mean, that's fascinating. But let's read the article here. And this is an upcoming show. It's probably, since this is the 13th, it's probably live already.
Probably.
But if not, then you'll get a sneak peek into an upcoming show on Wes's channel. Listener writes, I hesitated to share this story because, to be honest, it makes me sound cray-cray. But I know what I saw. Cray-cray. I love that. At 1 p.m. yesterday, I was sitting on the back porch having an eyeball break after being on my laptop for hours. And it says, I was enjoying the cool breeze and fall foliage when I started hearing a loud, rapid banging sound to my left. It was not in any particular sequence. Bang, ba bang, 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 ba bang, 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 bang. You get it. At first, I thought Brian was doing something in the yard downstairs. And I looked left towards the direction of the sound, and what I saw shocked me. I'm not exaggerating. My jaw literally dropped. I'm still shocked, and my brain is still having a hard time wrapping itself around the incident. Seeing is believing, even though what I saw was unbelievable. Behind our neighbor's house, on the wood line, there's a tree trunk surrounded by foliage. Here's a picture of the tree, and we watched the video, of course, taken after the incident. What that part of the tree is, as near as we can guess, Brian went down there about 12 feet off the ground.
Wow.
On the tree trunk, I saw a dark creature shaped like a person, hugging the trunk with its left arm and holding a flat log in its right hand. Fat log, sorry. It was banging loudly and rapidly on the tree trunk with the log. Because of the foliage, I could only see it from the waist up. I said out loud, what in the world? I stood up there to get a better look. The thing saw me, got spooked, and instantly dropped out of the tree. Since there was brush between my tree line, my line of vision and the bottom of the tree, I didn't see it hit the ground. This is what I saw, and please forgive the kindergartenish artistic skills. And yeah, as we saw from that video, so that's basically what she was seeing, and it was, so it kind of had its back to her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it was looking off in the distance and didn't realize there was a break in the tree foliage. The figure was all black, could have been fur or hair, but it was too far away to see that detail. I did not see any clothing on it. It was just all black and shaped like a beefy person, not thin. The log it was holding was about as thick as the thing's head, and it would take a very strong person with a very large hand to not only hold that log, but to swing it as fast and as hard as the thing was. After the thing dropped off the tree trunk, I paused for a second. I wish I could explain the confusion my brain was experiencing at that moment. I knew what I saw, but It didn't make any sense to me, to my logical mind at all. I then stepped off to my left, opened the back door, and loudly whispered, "Brian, come quick." Well, he came out, and I briefly told him what I saw. A big black thing in the tree beating on the tree trunk with a log. We listened and looked, but nothing. We pulled out the binoculars, still nothing. Brian's first thought was it might be a poacher putting up a tree stand in our neighbor's backyard. Trespassing. Deer hunting season is about to start, and we found poachers on our property after dark the past 2 years. But why would he be doing it at 1 p.m. in broad daylight and within the view of the houses? 3 houses. And again, I didn't see any clothing on it, so that theory didn't make any sense. Also, if it was human, it would have shimmied or climbed down the tree, not drop straight down about 12 feet to the ground. I called our neighbor on my phone and said, "Hey, how you doing? Are you doing work in the trees behind your house?" He said, "No." But I didn't want to sound crazy, so I gave him the possible poacher story and asked if he'd mind if Brian went out there with and investigate. He said sure and promised not to shoot Brian.
Thanks.
Thank you. Brian did not find any evidence of a deer stand being built. He found some broken vines at the base of the tree, as well as lots of sticks and logs, but there are those all over the forest floor. He didn't see any footprints, but it was dry, and because of the fall, there's tons of leaves on the forest floor. There is a deer trail right near that tree, but I knew that wasn't a deer up in that tree holding a log and banging on the tree trunk.
Right. It's a not deer.
Yeah, it's a not deer. Yeah. I looked up bears. They don't have any opposable thumbs. They can't hold a log and bang on a tree trunk. So I'm still trying to come to terms with this incident. My mind still can't wrap itself around what I saw. Mason has COVID right now. I took her to the ER on Tuesday because he had the worst headache of his life and pain in his lower middle back. He had no upper respiratory system, so I wanted them to rule out meningitis. This is kind of different, isn't it?
Okay.
Which they did. He tested positive for COVID in the ER, and he's home resting and miserable now. Please pray for him. He does have the upper respiratory systems now. Last night, woke up at 2 a.m., heard a weird sound outside, realized it was raining and the wind was blowing pretty hard, so I crawled back into bed. Then I heard another faint noise, a weird clack, clack, clack noise outside. Of course, I immediately thought that thing had come looking for me. I mean, it knows where I live.
Oh.
I got up with a flashlight, and the wind was blowing so hard that a large bucket had blown out from under the porch and was rolling back and forth across the driveway. I went back to bed and didn't get much sleep for the rest of the night. I don't blame you. Wow. That's pretty crazy. So there's, again, the picture of where she saw it, right. And that's about 12 feet off the ground. So, yeah, that's a hell of a visual, and it's kind of neat because whenever people hear tree knocks, we're thinking, well, it sounds like they're hitting the tree with a wood.
Right.
Some people have theorized it's clapping noise, like they have huge, powerful hands. They can probably, thunderclap.
Right.
Other people have, thought maybe it was with their mouth or something. So it's interesting to see that somebody observed them hitting a tree trunk with a log, because that does maybe cross the T on that one, so that we don't wonder which is it. And maybe it could be all of them. Maybe in certain circumstances they just go instead if it was close. But further away they may need to be louder. So, but that's kind of cool. So this is why I love reading these encounter stories, is because everybody sees something, and maybe what you saw has never been really seen before. So, cool story.
Yeah, how many stories have we ever had of somebody saying we actually saw the Bigfoot doing tree knocks?
Never. I don't recall
no.
ever.
Yeah. Huh.
It may have come up. I mean, I've heard stories of them using rocks to break open things.
Right.
Like nuts or some clams.
Yep.
Is a big one.
Yep.
So they are known to use tools in that regard in a very rudimentary way. But yeah, apparently they're using it to hammer on trees too, folks.
Doggone it.
Doggone it. All right, let's get to the next one. We're going to do another one from Sasquatch Chronicles. And this one's from October 13th. Ooh. Upcoming show, Encounter in Washington State. Listener writes, I live in Washington in Castle Rock in 2009. I took a friend turkey hunting.
Good spot.
Is it?
Yeah.
You been there?
Yeah.
I live in Washington. Oh, sorry. We drove up to Mount Adams to a camp spot, and I selected while scouting. We set up camp and went to sleep. Around 2:30 a.m., I woke up in my sleeping bag with an overwhelming fear. Now, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Woke up with the fear, so it must be projected somehow. How would that happen? Their conscious mind was not aware of anything, and to wake up in fear. So that fear must be able to be projected then. Interesting. It says, I knew that something was looking through the side window of my canopy into the bed where I was sleeping. I pointed my pistol at the window and told myself, if something touches that glass, I'm shooting. After a few minutes, the feeling left and it was quiet. I didn't hear anything outside of my truck. I might have read this one already, but we're reading it again. I fell back to sleep and we both got up in the morning and we were getting ready to head out to set up. And Wayne says, I heard you get up last night and walking around. I didn't say anything, just thought this is strange. We both started to walk out into this clear cut to glass for birds at sunrise. As we're looking out into clear cut, we heard a large branch break to our left. I looked over to see this large dark thing moving like nothing I have ever seen. I asked Wayne what it was, and that we both speculated maybe a bear, but we could hear the steps and clearly see the back of the head and shoulders above the reprod that was easily 6 feet tall. Yeah, I remember I read it because I ran into that word before too. As I'm 6'1", we both watched this thing move away in a fluid motion down the hill. After chatting, we decided to go into another blind about a quarter mile from camp, and it took us about 30 minutes to get there. I put out the decoys and got into the blind I had constructed. We botched, leaned against a tree, and listened for a few. After a few calls, we heard 2 different turkeys gobbling. We sat and waited, calling every so often to keep the tom interested. Things got quiet, so quiet, it didn't feel right a few seconds later. It sounded like a cop car turned on its siren, but just the first part, that whoop, yeah. Kind of high-pitched but loud and long. It sounded like it was right behind me, standing on the logging road on the other side of the tree that we were leaned against. I got out of the blind, out of blind with my pistol in hand, only to catch the same one or type of creature go over a ledge, breaking trees like a herd of elk sounds. My friend looked at me and said, "What the hell was that?" I said, "I don't know." I grabbed the decoys and we left, and I've not been back to that spot since. This was in April. Now in September, we're now hunting elk just on the edge of Trout Lake. You know that area?
No, I don't know that one.
We go out in the morning and go do our normal walk after afternoon. Wayne calls me on the radio and tells me I need to make it to him to see something. I look at my GPS and he's 2 miles from me. We chat over the radio and he just keeps telling me I need to get to him. So myself and another friend, Vance, walk and get to the river, cross over in our boxers to get our gear back on and walk to Wayne, who's maybe 20 feet from where we came out of the river. He points down and we're all looking at a footprint in wet, soft sand.
Wow.
And it was clear as day, and you could see the toes, the bend of the foot as it pushed off into the sand during its step, and all 3 of us were in disbelief. We're all hunters and have spent our lives outdoors, and none of us have seen anything like this before. At this point, I start telling Vance about the turkey event, and we all still hunt and fish, just not in that spot. That track was in the middle of nowhere, and in a nasty draw. No one would walk barefoot down there, especially with a foot that big. I missed some details about the camp and hunt, trying to keep this kind of short. Thank you for your time, Wes. So that's going to be a show, or is a show currently. I'm not sure whether this one's out or not, but it's called Encounter in Washington State. So it'd be interesting to hear him tell that story in his own words. I know I'll be tuning in. So, let's see. What time do we have? 8:26. I think we'll go to Phantoms and Monsters now, but I'm going to close this so I don't forget. And then pop over here because, see what do we got? 2 of these? Yeah. There we go. All right. So we're going to go to Phantoms and Monsters now, which again is Lon Strickler's site, good friend of ours and regular guest on the show, or maybe not regular, but several time guest on the show. And we're definitely have to keep Lon coming back because he's incredibly interesting and really very, very knowledgeable guy. He's been at this for decades. But check out phantomsandmonsters.com. Support what he's doing because he's got thousands of encounter stories over there. He's got research efforts. He's got his published works listed over there. And you can find out more about his podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And you can find that on YouTube as well. So look for his site or his channel and get subscribed. So
Is this thing say anything?
no.
There's a ghost standing right next to you.
Oh, okay.
Or something, the spirit. But
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Just hanging out. I guess he likes the stories. Or she.
Huh.
He or she likes the
Is that
stories.
Peter?
I don't know.
Oh, just left.
Maybe it was.
Huh.
Guess they didn't like us talking about him or her.
Interesting.
Sorry. Didn't mean to disturb you.
Oh, they saw me.
You're welcome to stay and listen some more. It's been kind of popping in and out, hasn't it?
Yeah.
There's a squiggle up before that just going off the roll now, and then the one that was just happening. So interesting. The R flux has been flickering. R flux detection and the pulse energy. Yep. All right. So yeah, keep an eye on the ghost radar. That's always ongoing. And it's picking up something. Again, I don't know for sure if it's spirits, but it's picking up something. That's for sure. All right.
Baker.
What? It says Baker. Baker. That's funny. Mrs. Portal just baked brownies.
Oh. Well, yeah, earlier, just before the show, though, it was bagpipe.
Yeah, it was bagpipe for some reason. I don't know. That one just seemed arbitrary. We weren't even talking at that point. You were just getting setting up and it just spit out bagpipe. So bagpipe and now Baker. Maybe it's one of our guides or something.
Step out for a sec.
Oh, sure. All right, so we're going to get to this one. Hiker confronts upright reptilian humanoid in California's Yosemite Valley. Now, I don't know. Could you imagine being a hiker and just there's a reptilian humanoid? What would you do? Ugh. I think, that would be horrible. A hiker in the Yosemite Valley stopped to rest and grab some food by a stream when he noticed a bipedal creature that he described as a reptilian. Things got stranger as time went on. I received the following account. Oh yeah, coming soon, first ever Paranormal Portal skateboard. Oh, sweet. Ah, that's awesome, brother. Very cool. I'm excited to see that. That's awesome. All right, this happened in Sierra Nevadas in Yosemite Valley, California. It was a place that I'd been looking forward to hiking for a long time. I'd prepared all my gear the previous night, double-checked everything, water, food, tent, map, everything. I was just itching to get out there and explore. The sun's peeking up over the horizon, and it's just so serene. Anyway, a few hours into the hike, I stopped to refuel, taking a bit of a breather, and I find a nook near a stream. I'm settling down to eat, and I hear this sound. First, I think it's probably a squirrel or something, but then the sound gets louder and heavier. Suddenly, I'm on alert. I'm no stranger to wildlife, and I instantly know that this was different. I can just feel it in my gut. So I decided to move towards it and check it out. I tread lightly, trying to go figure out the source of the sounds, and then I see this creature. It's not a bear, not a mountain lion, not anything that you would expect to see in the mountains. It was something different. This creature stood on its hind legs like a human, but it was much taller. The body was covered in these scales like a lizard, but they were larger. Almost like armor plating. There was also a dark green color, almost black in some places, and its limbs were muscular but lean, like a runner's but way more powerful. The head was the most striking part. It had these slanted almond-shaped eyes that glowed an eerie yellow. It didn't have a snout, more like a flat face. There were these slits where a nose should be, and the mouth was filled with sharp, jagged teeth. Not like a predator's teeth, more like rows of serrated knives, if that makes sense. I didn't see any wings or anything, but it had a long tail, almost as long as the body, like a kangaroo's tail. It had 4 fingers, but they were long and ended in these sharp, curved claws. Oh God, you know that thing's evolved to tear things apart. The thing I remember the most was that the creature moved so smoothly, like water flowing over rocks, almost graceful. You're probably thinking I'm pulling your leg or messing with you, but I swear this is exactly what I saw. This reptilian-like creature was some next level out of this world kind of being. I had a good 5 minutes or so and just stare at the thing. It's standing there at the edge of the clearing, just observing me, like it's trying to figure me out. It didn't seem hostile. I mean, it was freaky as hell. I didn't want to provoke it, but instead of coming at me, it just kind of mirrored me as I moved. It was like we were doing some weird kind of dance. I know it sounds nuts, but it was as if the creature was just as curious about me as I was about it. We stood there for what felt like hours, but I'm sure it was just a few minutes. At one point, I could swear it made a sound like a low hum or something. I couldn't make much out of it, but it didn't seem threatening. Then suddenly it turned and disappeared. I was in shock. I mean, what did I just witness? I wonder what it means by disappeared, though. Like poof, gone, or just walked to where you couldn't see it anymore. So now at this point, there I was alone in the clearing with my heart pounding like a drum, and I'm just standing there wondering if this really just happened. I was trying to process everything. I decided to follow in the direction where the creature went. Wow. I couldn't just let it go, and I had to know more. As I moved closer to where it disappeared, I noticed these huge tracks in the ground. It was not like it was not anything I'd ever seen in any guidebook. The air felt different too, almost electric. It felt charged, and there was this energy around that I just can't explain. I pushed through the undergrowth, following the tracks. It felt like I was in some kind of dream or movie. Like at any moment, I would just wake up back in my tent and it would all be over. But no, this was real. And it was actually happening. I walked further into the woods and noticed the tracks became harder to find. And then they just started to disappear. It was like the creature had just vanished into the air. I must have looked around for an hour or more, but there was no other sign of it. It was gone. But I swear to you that every time I closed my eyes that night, I could see those eyes. Its form was burned into my memory, and I still can't believe what I saw that day. And Lon says, I asked the witness if they could provide a more specific location of their encounter. This is a general area where several unexplained humanoid sightings have been reported. In particular, the Penelope encounters that I've reported on over the years. I don't know if that one, I don't know that I read that one before or not. It might have been while I was sick. Sounded kind of familiar, but I didn't.
Something about a kangaroo tail and serrated teeth and serrated teeth and claws?
Yeah, it was like a reptilian creature
Yeah.
this guy saw, but it had huge scales, like almost looked like armor, but they were scales.
Oh.
And it had these almond yellow eyes.
Oh.
And the mouth, it didn't have any nose, but it had slits.
Right.
Where the nose would be. The face was kind of flat, not like a snout.
Right.
And the when it opened its mouth, it had these serrated, well, just bunches of sharp teeth, like looked like a serrated blade kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it definitely sounds like Naga.
Yeah, that's a good point. Naga,
like Naga.
sure. Maybe it was Naga. That's a great take. I hadn't thought of that because I always think when I think of Naga, I'm thinking of Asia. But yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they be over here too?
Yeah.
Just a different name or whatever. Huh. Naga. Yep. Very cool. Maybe it was. Great take, Don. Good catch. Good catch. All right. Very cool story. And we're going to hit one more. This is a 12-foot tall giant man.
Ooh.
I guess we might hit more than one more, but we're hitting one more for sure. So this is a former deputy sheriff claims 12-foot tall giant man encounter in Washington wilderness.
Man, I'm from there. I'm never going back.
Look at all you missed, Don.
I know, huh?
Former deputy sheriff claims. So, I mean, it doesn't mean this person is more credible.
Pierce County, that's Tacoma area.
Is it?
Yep.
Is that your area too?
It's a little south of my area.
Okay, gotcha. Huh. Gotta refresh my speaker. All right. Former deputy sheriff in Pierce County, Washington reports an encounter that he had while searching for a missing hiker. He claims that he witnessed a nude 12-plus foot tall giant man. I received the following account. In August of 1993, I was deputy sheriff in Pierce County, Washington.
I was still in King County at the time.
Okay, I was a part of a search for a missing hiker. We'd split up into single searches early in the investigation. I was assigned to an area near Evans Creek Preserve. This area was a state land, but adjacent to federal land. It was approximately 2:15 p.m., and the weather was overcast. The woods can become very dark in this area, though I was familiar with the general location. As I conducted my search for the missing hiker, I encountered an unknown entity that was staring at me. It was several hundred feet away, but could make out that it was human-shaped, but very large and tall. Well, I cautiously approached the individual, and as I got closer, it was obvious that this man was nude, and he was a tremendous size. I think he means the overall size, Tom.
Right, gotcha, right.
I was within 50 yards or so when he bolted to my right into the deep, dark woods at a speed that was completely impossible for a human being to achieve. I yelled at him for it to stop, but he continued to run away. My instincts told me that this giant may somehow be involved in the disappearance of the hiker.
No way.
By this time, I'd drawn my weapon. I was hesitant to call for help or to report what I had witnessed. I was even questioning myself as to what this could have been. Was I hallucinating this giant being? I tried to follow the giant man, but it was simply impossible to do so. After 15 minutes or so, I was getting spooked and decided to find my way back to the trail and continue with the search for the hiker. I'll admit, I was fearful of being ambushed by the giant man. Yeah, for sure. The giant man was at least 12 feet in height. Very muscular in build, olive skin, no visible hair. He was completely nude. I didn't get close enough to describe facial features, but the head was enormous and oval shaped. He never made any sounds. It just seems impossible that anything of that size really exists. Mm-hmm. The hiker was eventually found nearer to Mount Rainier, which was east of my location, and I remained with the department for another 3 years until I moved to Oregon and started working for a security firm. After my encounter with the giant, I was much more wary of the outdoors. I still question what I witnessed that day, but I never told anyone, other than my wife and a close friend, about the incident, and I'm not sure if they believe me. I've never heard of any related sightings here in the Pacific Northwest. This is why I contacted you. Have you ever heard or read of similar sightings or encounter? Do giants really exist? Thanks for your time. And Lon says, I contacted the witness and we discussed the sighting. I have no idea what he observed, but he seems convinced that this was an actual corporeal being. I don't receive many giant sightings, especially in North America, unless you want to add hairy hominids to that category. Yeah, that is strange. They're very, very rare. But they do come up.
They do, yeah. Somebody said, I don't know if it was SoCal or if it was, I can't remember if it was SoCal or Paradox, but they said they had heard of giants in PNW as well.
Oh, and in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, if you guys ever find stuff like this, send it over, because I'd love, finding giant stories is very, very rare. So if you find some, please send them to me. I'd love to take a look at those claims.
So I have a question for Luna Moonicorn, though.
Okay.
She says, me over here trying to picture 5'1" me seeing a 12-foot naked man. Now, that's great, but then she goes, ah. Or did she mean, oh?
I don't know.
Ah.
I'm not going to speak for anybody on that one, dude.
Or is it,
Maybe.
That says ah, though. It's like, ah.
I wonder, did he have a beard? What color's the hair? There's so many questions I have.
I wasn't there.
No, I mean about the guy, though. Not you. It wasn't you, right? You're not 12 feet tall.
I only look that way.
Yeah, you're a giant of a man. Oh, this is one that's not really. I'm looking for another one.
Spit all over.
Did you really?
Yes, you
Oh,
did.
nice.
My knees are wet.
Okay. All right. Let me grab this, and I'm pulling up another one so we can read it. Copy and paste. Another one of Lon's stories here. This one is, I don't know where this acronym comes from. The DWAYYO. Is it Dwyo, or is that a word? I don't know, but it says upright canid cryptids sighting reported in Washington County, Maryland. So it's not near the Pacific Northwest.
I don't know what that is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Washington County. No, that's Maryland. Yeah.
Yeah.
It says it. Yep.
All right, so this one is from the 17th, so just yesterday. Lon posted up this one, and it starts here. A Hagerstown, Maryland couple was driving south on the Sharpsburg Pike, about 3 miles north of the Antietam National Battlefield, where they observed an upright cryptid canine approaching the highway.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Out of
Over there.
Antietam. I wonder if it was digging.
Oh, yeah. Well, there is a correlation apparently between dogmen and cemeteries.
Right.
So I know that some people claim that they are the guardians of like some burial mounds for Native Americans.
Ah, yeah.
My wife and I witnessed a dogman looking creature, possibly a dwyo. I don't know that word, dwyo.
I'll look it up.
DWAYYO. Monday nights, I guess it's September 7th, 23. While driving northbound on Route 65, Sharpsburg Pike. What?
Okay. The woods of Maryland is said to hide a wolf-like creature known as a Daewoo.
Oh, they.
Daewoo.
Okay.
Well, another pronunciation is Dewao. Dewao.
Oh, Dewao.
So it's a Maryland Wolfman.
Okay.
Wolfman.
Maryland Wolfman. Specifically. Okay.
Correct.
So it's kind of like Momo with the,
Yes,
what's
skunk
probably
ape.
some version
Yeah.
of Bigfoot or skunk ape. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
But even though some prints came up with 3 toes. But anyway, some variation anyway. South of Rockland Drive, just south of Hagerstown, Maryland, at approximately 2200 hours Eastern Standard Time. We had just left the AT&T Travel Center that's located at the intersection of Route 65 and La Pons Road after eating dinner there. It was dark out, with the only light illumination being that from my own headlights, some street lights and headlights from a single approaching car. In the initial time of witnessing the creature, the approaching car was approximately 500 feet in front of us. I was driving and my wife was in the front passenger seat, and as we were approaching Rockland Drive, something immediately caught my attention on my left peripheral. When I looked over, I saw what appeared to be a dogman-looking creature running at a super fast pace right towards the road from an open field. I quickly realized that if I maintained my own driving speed, I might actually hit it if I continued coming across the road, so I immediately came down pretty hard on the brakes.
Oh, gosh, no.
Step on it! Floor it, Marge! As I got closer to the road, my headlights put some limited illumination on the creature, but I never got closer than approximately 25 to 50 feet from it. As soon as I hit my brakes, my wife exclaimed, "What the hell is that?" As it got up by the road, the approaching car started to make it harder to see due to its own headlights, and we lost sight of it, never to be seen again once the car had passed us. We don't know if the creature crossed behind the passing car or not, as we never witnessed it actually come onto the road. As crazy as it sounds, I don't know if it actually may have hurtled our vehicles and we didn't see it do that, or what. With its speed and build, I'd have to say that it very well may have had that ability to do so, but obviously I can't say with any certainty. We were both very shaken by what we had just witnessed. There's some mapping. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably not going to visit there. It doesn't look, again, look at this. This isn't like wilderness.
No, that's not wilderness. Yeah.
That's pretty,
it's
pretty normal suburban.
Yeah, suburban. Yeah.
Wow. That's not where you'd expect them. My wife and I described our accounts of what we witnessed very similarly. It was running upright on two legs, eastbound from my left to my right, from an open field directly towards the road. It had dog-like legs, V-shaped with its knees most forward, traveling at an estimated 30 to 35 miles per hour. I've never seen anything on two legs run so fast in my life. Its legs were significantly smaller in proportion to the upper body. It was kind of narrow at the waist, and its body got larger, wider, or bulkier through the torso from above the waist to the shoulders. Its largest in the chest area, its head was pointy, snouty, with two upright pointed ears, and it was completely black in color and appeared to be fully covered in fur/hair except for around the face snout area.
Wow.
Neither of us is super confident of seeing a tail, as we're both more focused on the other aspects of its build. All I can say is that my absolute first thought when seeing it I immediately recognized it as being a werewolf/dogman looking creature, and that they typically have been described as having a large bushy tail. My wife said that the very first thing that caught her focus was how fast it was running and the shape and look of its head. She then took notice of its uniquely shaped legs. She's not super familiar with the cryptid field, but when I showed her several different artist renditions of what a werewolf/dogman may look like, she absolutely agreed that they were extremely similar to what she had seen. I also agreed that this is what I witnessed as well. It says, once we got home and continued to discuss this encounter, I began thinking this whole thing through to try and debunk it or come up with some kind of logical explanation as to how this may have been just an illusion or whatever you want to call it. I've traversed this road in both directions probably well over 100 times in both day and night settings over the years, clearly never having anything anywhere close to this experience there ever before. I kept picturing it in my head in the area in which we witnessed this. For the life of me, I was nearly certain that there was not a single thing in that field that could possibly have reflected any light, structure, fence, wall, etc., to create a shadow effect. We drove back to this area later as we wanted to take the time to see if what we had saw had been some odd shadow effect that had been created by the headlights of my car and or the approaching car.
Wow.
We went back in the daylight and again at night and confirmed that the field was wide open. There was absolutely nothing for light to reflect off of. We recreated the event as I drove in the same direction at the same location with oncoming traffic, and that was not able to reproduce a single aspect of what we had witnessed. This has left both my wife and I to conclude and to be convinced that what we had witnessed was real, a physical creature. While doing some light online research on possible similar sightings, I came across some articles about a creature named a Duayo. It's been documented to have been seen in the Gambrel State Park and all along the Catoctin Mountains between Frederick, Wolfsville, and Thurmont, including in Cunningham Falls State Park, where two park rangers claim to have witnessed the creature. After reading the creature's description from these witnessed accounts, I had my wife read them for herself. At this point, it is our belief that this is the very creature that we witnessed that night.
Wow.
Wow.
And I like how it was signed DM, Dogman.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So this is a picture of the Duayo. Look at that tail. Woo. That's That's a funky tale right there. But it does, it is kind of interesting. When you look at the legs would look kind of stumpy, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I
know?
think so.
Wow.
Because of the natural bend of the knee and the way the thigh,
Yep.
turns. Yeah, I think it would look stumpier. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I
There's
agree.
some pretty good things on this. Three different ways of spelling it.
Right.
Dwayo or Dwayo or Dwayo. Okay. And then some descriptions of teeth and such. Witness addendum. Throughout this particular day in our encounter, beginning in the mid-afternoon hours, there was a very significant outbreak of severe weather that occurred in this region that continued in the very early hours, evening hours. This included torrential downpours, over 70-mile-per-hour winds, large hail, and frequent lightning. There were successive severe cells that came through in waves throughout the several-hour time frame. The likes of this weather event hadn't been seen in this region in over 10 years. However, at the time of our encounter, there was no storms in the area. It wasn't raining and no wind to any degree whatsoever. It was a very peaceful night at this point, as the last storm had passed through the area a few hours prior. That's quite an addendum. Could it have been possible that this creature had fled the mountainous area to seek safety, as there had been a significant tree falls along these mountains and surrounding areas due to the weather events, and it was on its way returning to its home when we saw it? As the crow flies, as they say, the nearest mountain is approximately 10 miles away. With as fast as this creature was witnessed running, it would only take a relatively short time for it to get back into the dense woods of that mountain range from which it has been witnessed in the past. This was definitely the direction in which it was traveling when we had our encounter. No way of knowing for sure, but just a thought. Lon's notes, I interviewed the witness and can confirm his statements that were given to me personally and what was contained in the report. I was referred to this witness by another investigator who resides in Maryland. The Dwayo is a moniker given to the upright canines first described by 19th century German farmers, mostly Pennsylvania Dutch, high-order Mennonites, who had moved southwest into the western Maryland from their original locations in Lancaster and York, Pennsylvania counties. Their descriptions were similar to the old country interpretations of werewolves that were part of Central Europe in culture and lore. Mm-hmm. There you go. I don't know. The Dwayo, it's a new one, Don.
It is. Maggie says, Dean Harrison says, was saying, why would canines walk on 2 feet? It does seem like a good question.
Yeah.
I wonder why they do that when they're built for 4. Well,
I don't know. Well, are they though? I mean,
well, yeah.
Because I'll tell you, if it was just a canine, yeah, with the way the ribs are the sternum is elongated and the ribs go narrowly to the sternum from its shoulder and back area. A normal canine, yeah, it would make more sense. However, the dogman / whatever these are, they don't seem to have that same like pointed out chest like a canine does when you lift them up on their back legs. Their chest comes out into kind of a point. Well, they seem to have more of a humanesque kind of chest where it's like big and
squared off.
Right, much more squared off. So they are observed both ways, and so are Sasquatch for that matter. Though, they are observed on all fours as well as, on 2 legs, and whatever. So I think that they're anatomically different enough that they're not built like the traditional canids with the narrow chest width and elongated expanse.
Right.
So I think that may be the difference. Is if they had the V rib cage, then sure it would be like, why are they bothering? But there's merit to being able to stretch up, because you can get higher and look. I mean, even wolves will go up on their back legs to try to look and view things.
Rabbits do it too.
Yeah, rabbits, squirrels,
Yep.
Everything will try to get up higher, and so maybe it's also a great benefit to get higher and to move higher so you can keep an eye on things. So having the ability to do both would be actually, I would think, more of an evolutionary privilege or benefit than just being stuck in a quadrupedal or bipedal state.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah, it is a good question, but I don't think that they're anatomically so similar in their structure. Probably other than the digigrade versus plantigrade knees and legs. Other than that, they're pretty much very human-esque in their proportions, with longer arms, though. The dogmen definitely are known to have longer arms, so than people, more like on the order of primates and other things. So, but Don,
Yes.
did you have a good journey tonight?
Oh yeah, SoCal Squatcher. Yeah, it says I've heard reports of people hearing their bones and joints
Right.
cracking when they stand up. Yeah, we were talking to Vic about that.
Yeah, there's apparently something with the hip that it's the way that the ball joint is on them is they can be either, but it seems to have to go through this popping area to transition, like
Transformation.
right.
Yeah.
So it does seem to pop as they get up from quadrupedal to bipedal.
Right.
Witnesses have heard of pop, and it makes sense, I guess.
Right.
So it's like a dual hinge ability. It can be either in like a transformer. It can be in a car form or it can be bipedal. Well, they can be quadrupedally comfortably without having to have an awkward alignment on their hips. That they can be either. So
Right.
great point though. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. What were you saying? It was what?
I don't remember, but that's not unusual for me. I'm getting old now, and I don't remember much past a few seconds
I think
ago.
you were trying to let me know that the show
Oh yeah, it's
is
about
almost
done.
over.
It's about done. Did you have a good time?
Dum dum dum. Yeah, absolutely. I always have a good time here. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yep. As long as I don't eat Jack in the Box tacos. Oh my gosh.
They burned a hole right through you, did they?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, I understand.
Yep. So anyhow,
But they're tasty, aren't they?
they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely are.
I've never had their
They
tacos.
are not good for you.
No. Well, can't live on lettuce alone, Don,
Yeah. Nope.
because lettuce on the grill just doesn't work out.
Oh yeah. Raw Croaker says cooking sushi rice and eggs for my tuna. Yeah, that's what I have for breakfast, brother. Except I usually have like sausage patty and eggs on rice. Really good.
That sounds actually really good.
It actually is. Yeah. It really is.
Damn, dude, I ain't eating today, man. Come on now.
Yeah, just a couple eggs over easy on the rice is good enough.
There you go.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess that's going to wrap it up for us tonight, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys have enjoyed the journey. It's been absolutely amazing to me. You, Don?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great to get here with our friends and talk with you guys and tell stories and BS and
Yeah.
that kind of sense, that kind of nonsense. So there
We
you
got
go.
a whole bucket of nonsense here, folks.
Yup.
I like that. That'll have to be the new phrase. You better make a nonsense shirt.
I don't know how I do that. I think I
Got to
might
do a
know how to
megalodon and a
do
nonsense.
it. A megalodon.
Remember the dinosaur Don? Just do a T-Rex with a huge beard. It's a megalodon. All right, folks. Well, I guess it's going to wrap it up for us. Remember, we do have a Teespring site. You can find the link in the description,
Yep.
and it goes a long way to help us. Thank you to our channel members. You guys are amazing. Thank you to all of you who contribute in your own ways, whether it's sharing, liking, or just recommending the show to somebody you know.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. And thank you to our amazing channel mods. You guys are amazing. Rachel, you've been wonderful. I didn't know. Was Elaine in tonight?
I didn't see Elaine. No.
Okay, has it just been Rachel all night?
Mod wise, yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I think so. Okay. Well, got to have some mods. Boy, Raw Crocker was really chatting.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. It's been a trip through the Paranormal Portal with our friends Brent and Don Sense and the D-Holes. Thank you, Lena Unicorn.
That's great.
It's like Don Sense and the D-Holes.
Oh, God. I'm not playing in that band. No way. I won't pull my guitar out for no nonsense.
I don't pull my guitar out from nothing either.
The D-holes.
It's thinking me of a 12-foot.
Okay. Let's stop it here. All right,
Hi,
folks.
Elaine. There she is.
Well, there's Lane. Hi,
Yeah.
You're not here. Well, you should be here. You should always be here. All right, guys. That's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Thank you so much. Remember, we'll be back on Friday. I'll be back anyway. Sheldon will be with me, and then I'll be back on Saturday. At least it looks like now. But, if anything changes, keep watching the portal, paranormalportal.net for any updates on when the next show is going to be going on. And watch social media as well. Facebook, I usually post if we're not going to be doing a show. So anyway, looks good for Friday and Saturday. So hopefully we'll see you then.
Sweet.
And until then, remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody.
Good night.